Hi there, this is Peter Upfold. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a custom Moodle theme that is based on an existing theme. This is a bit like child themes if you're familiar with WordPress. So what that means is, instead of copying a whole theme and having your customizations be part of that copy, you separate your customizations and you inherit everything else that you haven't customized from the base theme. So when an update to the base theme comes out, you don't have to do a load of manual work to merge all those changes in. Your custom theme inherits those for free. And we'll have a look a bit more about what this means when we get into it. Now, first of all, I want to show you what customizations we can do to some themes without having to go through this process. This theme I quite like. It's called Aardvark. And I'm on Moodle 2.6 here, but these steps should be fairly similar in the releases in the 2 series. So if I go across to the Appearance Themes under Site Administration, and then I click on Aardvark, which is the name of this particular theme, there's actually some settings here I can change. I can put in my own custom logo, an email address, colors and background. So if you're doing some basic changes to this, then the theme settings might already enable you to get the effect you want. But if you want to go a little bit further and have a bit more control, and you're comfortable with CSS and a little bit of PHP, then we can create a custom theme that will inherit everything from Aardvark, but we can override just the bits and pieces that we want. So let's take a look at this process. So let's begin by setting up a new folder for our theme in the Moodle theme directory. So I'm going to need to go across to my web server here, and I'm going to log in. And if we go down, this is inside the Moodle directory on the server. If we go across to the theme folder, you'll find all the themes that have been installed, as you can see, in Aardvark there at the top. So let's make a new folder for our new theme, which will inherit from Aardvark. So I'll make a new folder, and I'm going to call this Peter's theme, because I can't think of a better name. Okay, and we'll just expand that. Obviously there's nothing in there at the moment. Now there's a particular structure that we need to have inside this folder for Moodle to pick it up and recognize it as a theme. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Aardvark, and I'm actually going to copy config.php, and then we're going to make some changes to it. So there are a few files we are actually cloning and then modifying, but we won't have all of this stuff. As you can see, if I scroll down through here, there's quite a few CSS files there. In the layout folder, you've got the different pages. So we'll take config.php. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that here, and then I'm going to move that copy into Peter's theme there. And obviously it needs to have the proper name. So let me go ahead and make it the proper name. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to edit it right here in Transmit, but you may need to open up an editor and then upload it again when you're done. So we'll expand this a little bit. The first thing we need to do is we need to go across down to the theme name and update that. So this is Peter's theme. And it's important here that we choose the parent theme, which is the theme we're inheriting from. Now, Aardvark already inherits from Bootstrap base, so we need to add Aardvark in here. So I'm going to add Aardvark, and then this needs to be proper PHP, so you need to make sure here that that's in quotes, and you've got a comma and then the other thing. Your theme might not have anything else in parents, or it might have something different, but you need to make sure that's going to be valid PHP. And the next thing we need to do is we need to add here under Sheets the name of our custom style sheet that's going to override some of the style sheets that are already in Aardvark. So I'm going to give that the same name. I'm going to call that Peter's theme. And so you see, these are the other style sheets that are part of Aardvark that we still want to load. And that's about it for this file. Once we've made those changes, we can go ahead and save. And you may need to upload it back to your server. As you can see, it's already uploaded here. And that's the config file done. So next, we're going to need to also copy the lang folder, and we need at least the English language if that's the language that your Moodle installation is in. So again, what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to copy this whole folder and just drop it in Peter's theme. and now I've got lang en, and then this file will need renaming, so I'll go ahead and rename it, and we'll call that theme_Peter's theme. And once again we'll need to edit this file to just set a few bits and pieces for the language. So here we need to set some of the strings, some of the bits of text that Moodle is going to use throughout the interface. So the name of my theme is Peter's theme, and just be careful here, I've got an apostrophe in my theme name, and obviously if I have that apostrophe there is the beginning and that apostrophe there is the end. If I put an apostrophe in the middle, it's going to confuse it, so I have to put that backslash in front of it. You may not need to do that if your theme name doesn't have an apostrophe. And I can also type in a new readme here. So Peter's theme is based on the excellent aardvark. Again, I'm just going to go through and find any other references to aardvark and update those to be our theme. I think that's about it. And we've got the credit here, but it would be nice to credit Sean Daubney, who of course created aardvark. So we're going to continue to credit Sean's great work. So we'll go ahead and save and close that down. So the next thing we need to do is we need to have a style folder, and we're going to put our custom CSS file. If you remember, that was going to be called peterstheme.css. We put that in the config file under sheets. So we're going to create a new style folder. That's gone in the wrong place, but that's okay. I can move that in just a moment. Drag that underneath there. And inside here, I'm going to create a new file, and that's going to be called peterstheme.css. Once again, just make sure that's in the right place. And in here, I'm going to put in any customizations that we want to use. So just as a quick demo, so we can be very clear that it's working, we're going to do something a little bit crazy, like put all the text into, let's say, red. So we'll go ahead and save that. Right, that fundamentally should be it. We've created our custom theme. It derives everything from aardvark, except it also loads in our extra CSS file, which is peterstheme.css, and those CSS rules will be loaded into the page. So now that that's ready to go, we'll go across to the theme selector here in Moodle, and we'll change the default theme. I'm going to scroll down, and we should find Peter's theme has been added here. There we go. We can add a screenshot there into the right folder if we want that to show up. So we'll click Use Theme. And as you can see, what's happened is we have aardvark, but our extra CSS rules that we loaded in is making all my text red. So I can start loading all kinds of CSS rules in there to override what's part of aardvark. Actually, it won't be immediately reflected. If you are doing development on your theme, do remember you've got to go across to Theme Settings and switch on Theme Designer mode, which we'll do now, so that you can see the changes to your theme immediately. And you should turn that off when you're done developing so that it can be loaded as quickly as possible and users aren't downloading a huge amount every single time. So that's it. That's how we've done a very, very simple override to make effectively a child Moodle theme. And in this case, its parent is aardvark. So it inherits everything from aardvark, but we can override CSS. But I can also override bits of PHP, the PHP that is the template for how the page is output. So let's just demonstrate that real quick as well. So if we want to edit the PHP that generates the HTML structure for these pages, because we want to do even more customization, we can do that as well. So let's say I want to add a different font to the main text here, and I want to use a Google Web font, because there's some nice fonts available there. So I found a Google Web font I want to use for my text, and actually you could do this with CSS, so I'm cheating a little bit just to have an example of why you'd want to edit the PHP. But here we've got our link tag, which would load in the Google Web font so that we can use it in our CSS, and that link tag would need to go into the head tag of the page. So let's copy that here and go back to Demo Moodle. So what we need to do is we need to have that tag that I just copied loaded into the top of this page. So if we go back across to the server and back up to aardvark, we've got the layout folder here, and inside here we've got a few files that actually do this outputting of the HTML structure. So if I duplicate that here in Peter's theme, I'm going to make a layout folder. Once again, not appearing in the right place, but we'll just drag that into the right place. And I'm going to copy general and footer. You need to copy both. And we're going to duplicate and then modify these files. Now we are starting to diverge a little bit more from the base theme, and you need to be aware of that. But you still will have access to all of the CSS and the web fonts for the icons here and all of that kind of thing. So I'll copy those into our new layout folder. And let's go into general.php. And I can now edit this. If we scroll down a little bit, you'll start to see the HTML structure of the page. So if I need to add my additional web font in, I will just go here, seems an appropriate place, and I'll paste in the extra web font. So Oxygen, the font, should be available to us inside our Moodle pages. We'll save that. And if I want to use that font, I can go back to my custom CSS file. And oh, look, I've already done this earlier. Just add in a font family rule to make that font appear. So if we go back and we reload Moodle, our new custom general.php layout file as well as footer.php are being loaded in. And as you can see, our web font that we've included is now being used for body text. And if we just take a moment to show the page source, we can see that if we scroll down a little bit, there we go. That's the extra bit of code that I added in to the HTML structure of the page, and that's reflected. So if you wanted to do even more customization and get a little bit more ambitious about what you wanted to do, then you've got pretty good control now over your customizations to this theme, but you can still roll in changes from your base theme as and when they become available. And I want to take a moment again to acknowledge Sean Daubney, who made the original Aardvark theme and who licenses it in such a way that you're allowed to do this kind of modification. So it's worth just spending a moment as we finish here to recognize that if you're inheriting code from an existing theme, you need to be following the license of that theme. Now, Aardvark here is licensed under the GNU GPL, the General Public License version 3, so that means I would have to license my custom theme under GPL v3 as well to make sure that everybody else has the same freedom that you did to be able to take it and inherit from it and make customizations. I think it's really important to make sure that when we're using all this great software that's been given to us, we're respectful to the authors of that software. So, that was it. My name is Peter Upfold. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.